Trajan demanded and received. He ate well, although often the dishes were cold because he loved to talk and laugh. I am forbidden to prepare copies of each one, starting at different times, so that as the conversation began to fade, I could have the slaves smoothly substitute the cold platters with ones that were just ready. Hadrian could hear his cousin's voice, as if Trajan was actually in the room. "Leave that sort of thing to the likes of Mark Antony and his tart." He skimmed through the next lines, as Phaedimus extended himself to discuss meals and their preparation, and what was proper for a princeps and his guests. Slaves and freedmen often had very fixed views on such things, for most men naturally came to believe that the concerns of their day were genuinely of the gravest importance to the wider world. After more than a page of this, the chamberlain expressed mild disapproval at the drunkenness of many meals at the emperor's table. That is the emperor's influence, for he drinks as hard or harder than all, without ever quite losing control. His attendants say that getting him to bed was always easy, and that he woke without needing to be roused. He is one of the best-behaved and tidiest drunks anyone knows. Hadrian sniffed in amusement. Trajan would be pleased enough with the comment privately, but would not want it spread abroad. It was so easy to forget that slaves and freedmen got to know their master or mistress better than anyone else. They judged them, too, usually shrewdly, if from a particular point of view. A wise man took this as a warning and remembered not to be too free with actions or words. He drinks less now, and only after I have sampled the cup, and some of that is suspicion and some is his health. The change in his eating habits is greater still. The princeps used to eat well, whether the food was hot or stone cold, but now he picks at his food, and all too often is plagued with stomach pains or loose bowels. Hard travel and fighting in harsh lands will not put meat on anyone's bones. You may not believe it, but even I am positively thin. The Lord Trajan became gaunt in the last years, making him look older for all his vigour. Since his illness last month, he is wasting away, his limbs thin as sticks where once they were muscled. He struggles to move his left arm at all, while the leg is stiff so that he limps. The Lord Trajan believes that he is being poisoned, and I count it the greatest compliment of my life that he still trusts me, and only me, to test his wine and his food. Well, that was enough to make sure that this letter would never be read by anyone else. There were always rumours, but Phaedimus, who would not matter in any other circumstance, could not be permitted to voice such concerns. I do not know whether or not this is true, but I know my master, my patron, and he is a brave man who has faced death many times without flinching. No one could ever doubt Trajan's courage. 2 years ago, in this very city, he was trapped when his house collapsed, as the earth shook and the buildings were torn apart. He spent hours in a cavern formed by the debris, encouraging the slaves entombed with him, until rescuers managed to get them out. A year ago, he had almost drowned when his ship capsized on the Tigris. Others perished, and he simply swam to the bank. Much the same thing had happened to Alexander all those centuries before. They say that Trajan showed more emotion when they reached Charax at the mouth of the great river, and he saw a ship setting sail for the long voyage to India. Some said he wept because he was too old to do what Alexander had done and lead his armies there. Hadrian doubted it, for the princeps was always master of his emotions in public, and would not be so weak as to shed tears. The longing would have been real enough, but like many urges, something his cousin would control. All of that was before the war turned sour. Trajan had created new provinces on land taken from the Parthians and their allies, and suddenly rebellions broke out at the same time.